All right. So starting with lesson number one, solving quadratic equations by graphing. Quadratic equation is very similar to quadratic function. Quadratic function will have it starting with y equals a squared plus bx plus c, or sometimes they would use function notation f of x. So this is what we've seen in the previous unit, ax squared plus bx plus c. And once you draw the parabola for this quadratic function, in chapter 3, the focus was on the vertex. We would use different methods to find the x and y coordinate of the vertex. Now in chapter 4, we will be using the parabola on your graph to find the x-intercept. So instead of working with y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, as we are now looking for the x-intercept, it happens when y equals 0. So this is the biggest difference between quadratic function and quadratic equations. When you are working with quadratic equations, you will now be solving for x. Ooh, come back. You will now be solving for x. Wait, where are they? So we will now be solving for the x-intercept, which happens when y equals 0. When you sub in 0 for y, you will end up with an equation with just x and x squared in it. So it could be something like 3x squared minus 5x plus 1, and this equation will only have x as the only variable. You would then be able to solve for x by graphing it, or technically finding the x-intercept on your parabola when you draw it. But when we were working with parabolas in chapter 3, there were different types of parabola. There are parabola that will go across the x-axis 2 times. That's what we usually see. But there are also times when your parabola will only shift sideways to the right or to the left. When you shift your parabola sideways, you will only see one x-intercept. There is only one solution for your x. And there are also times when your parabola will take off and then somehow it will stay away from the x-axis. And in these cases, you will end up not getting any x-intercept. There will be no x-intercept in this case, which means you won't see any answer for your x. So in another word, we will call this no real root. If you see only one x-intercept, like the second case, we call it one real root. And finally, if you see two answers here and there, we will call it a quadratic equations with two real roots. Now, if you're not quite sure why they have the word real, this term actually came from the domain and range in grade 10. And the real number set. In the past, when you were in grade 10, you've learned that numbers can be real, rational number, irrational number, integers, whole number. There are different types of number. And when you were in high school, all the numbers that you are dealing with comes from the real number set. And that's why we call the answers here real all the time. It is possible to have an answer that is unreal, but you won't do it in high school. Okay? Those are called imaginary solution. And for those of you who have heard of it before, imaginary number will come with I as part of your value. But we don't do it in Canada. We don't do it in high school.